Hey guys, so AGM is now going to start. We're going to go straight in for it. You know how it goes. First things first, we're going to do an approval of the last minutes from the last GM that occurred, which were put up on Blackboard, I think, a week after the meeting actually occurred. So everyone had an opportunity and a chance to read it as well. So if there were any issues or any amendments people would like to have made, you could have emailed into the advisory board committee. So right now, I just want a general aye to approve the minutes so we can carry on. Thank you very much. So now we'll be moving on to the first item on the agenda, which will be presentation of the accounts by David Smith. Come on, guys, for David Smith. All right, David, let's.
Thank you.
Right here.
So this is both a very glad day and a very sad day, because this will be my 15th and last annual general meeting in my official capacity. I'll still be here next year, but my colleague Carmel. Do people not hear?
Sometimes people at the back.
Right, is that better? No. Is that better? Yeah, is that better? No. No.
Testing. 1, 2, 1.
Right, okay. No. Right, I'll stand here. Right, okay, so my colleague Carmel, who sat at the front, she'll be presenting the accounts next year. So this is usually the quickest and maybe least interesting part of the meeting, but in a lot of ways it is the most interesting part of the meeting, because it shows on the screen that the union, the bottom figure, has a total of 149,576 funds in reserves. So this is the highest figure that we've had for some time, which is great, and it's a credit to all the members of the union, sabbaticals, staff. It's a fantastic effort. So that is a great thing. However, that does not mean that that money is there to be spent. That money is there to effectively be our rainy day fund should we have difficult years such as we've had in the past. We hope that we don't have that, but it may well be the case. The climate in the university is still very uncertain. We have been supported by the university for a number of years, and the university is very pleased that we have got this level of funds. However, should the student numbers not increase, not go back up, it may well be that the university decides that they're going to reduce our subvention, and then in order for us to operate and provide the services that we've been providing for all this time, we may have to dip into those reserves. These accounts were approved at the trustee board yesterday. They're going to be filed with the Charities Commission by the end of May, which is within the deadline. And then if anybody is interested and has got a spare couple of hours, you can download it from the Charities Commission website and read it. But again, if anybody's got any questions at all about the accounts after that time, if you want to come and see me or Carmel, then we're more than happy to go through and explain everything. So I don't know if anybody's got any quick questions now.
Counts? Yep, Hamza.
These accounts were the year ended 31st of July last year, so it relates to the 31st of its last academic year, 31st of July 2016. We're 3/4 of the way through financial year 2017. We hope sincerely that we're going to have a surplus again this year. I don't think it's going to be anything like the level that it was last year, but it still will be a surplus.
All right, guys, any other questions? None, then thank you very much, David Smith. And moving on to the next agenda. agenda item is the introduction of the new sabbatical officers. Hamza, if you'd like to come up.
Hello, 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 hello all. As you all might be aware that we held our student union elections for the next year's sabbatical team in March. We still, till this point, we have not given an opportunity to the elected sabbatical officers to come and speak to you guys. So today is the first day they will be able to come up and say their thank yous and introduce themselves. Unfortunately, we just have the half of the sabbatical team. So one by one, they'll just come in and talk to you guys and introduce themselves as briefly as possible. So start with Fatuma.
Yep, might as well.
So your elected community and welfare officer for next year, Fatuma.
Hello. Hey. My name is Fatuma and I'm the elected community and welfare officer for the year 17-18. Thank you.
We'll call down Hamza next. Hamza Yusuf, come down.
Hi guys, I'm here, Hamza Yusuf, activities officer for you guys next year. You told me to speak a bit more than Fatuma. I think that counts for speaking a bit more than Fatuma. I look forward to working with all of you guys who are returning next year in somewhat capacity, and we look forward to it next year. So yeah, see you all next year. Thank you.
Hello guys, my name is Faz Ilyas, and thank you for electing me as your Union Affairs Officer for next year. I hope to work with you all. If you have any ideas, do come to me. I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity that you guys have granted to me. I don't know really how to express my gratitude, but I really do look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Zainab. If you don't know me already, thank you so much for everyone who voted, and even if you didn't vote for me, thank you anyway. I'm excited to start off next year, and if you've got any problems going into the next year, please let me know. Yeah, we'll just hit the ball running. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And guys, that is your...
Sorry, some technical difficulty. Okay, Maria, who's a Women's in Campaigns officer elect, could not make it, and she's passed me a message to read it out to you guys. I would like to give my apologies for not attending today due to other commitments. Today I want to congratulate everyone from my sabbatical team and myself and to all of you for voting me as your next Women's in Campaigns officer. Firstly, I would like to give my special thanks to all the individuals who campaigned tirelessly for me during these elections. You are all awesome. And a big thank you goes out to those especially who took their time out to read our manifestos and vote for all of us. You believed in myself to represent the entire student body alongside with other SABs. I strongly believe we can do this together and make this university proud. You are more than welcome to approach me whenever you feel like. I look forward to serving you all as your Women's in Campaigns officer. Thank you.
And that was a nice hello from your future sabbatical team, guys. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the future of the sabbatical team structure. I'll be handing it over to Hamza Butt to discuss this in greater detail. Yep.
All right. Guys, as you must be aware of the fact that we were told that due to some financial constraints, we might have to change some kind of a service or the structure of the sabbatical team. The way forward was that we decided to have a away day, the trustee board away day, in which we wanted to do a wider consultation. So we had people from... Turn your mic off. Thank you. So we had ex-subs, people who had been sabbatical officers years ago, and they are now working in the industry. We had people like Sam Butterworth, everyone's favourite Sam Butterworth. We had Hasmin, the last year's academic affairs officer, and quite a few other ex-sabbatical officers. We had the current sabbatical team, the incoming sabbatical team. Then we had Professor Bill McCarthy, who's the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, and he did a presentation on how does the university see the role of sabbatical officers. After that, we had Richard Brooks, NUS Vice President Union Development, who showed the NUS perspective of how NUS sees the role of sabbatical officers in the future. And we had presentations from Kieran and Dan Batchelor, who showed what happens in the sector for a university of our size. There was a lot of good things came out of that away day, but the most prominent thing that came out from that away day was that because we made teams into breakaway rooms, the most prominent thing that came out was that decreased the sabbatical team from 6 members to 5 members. So we took it to council yesterday and we had a discussion about it, but we wanted to bring it to you guys in the general meeting and ask you if you think this is the right step forward. And we've not made a decision on what to do, but it's just we wanted to consult you guys before that. Are you okay for us to go in this direction and start looking at the restructure in this way? Open to any comments from the crowd, please.
Guys, so anyone have anything to say?
When would this be? Would this be for the current team or like the next season?
The timescale is that for elections to be held next year, we will have this in place, the structure in place. Yeah, that's the timescale.
Yep, Johnny.
What's the financial saving of losing a salary?
Johnny, it was 51,000.
Saving?
No, it's not of losing a sub.
Yeah. Isn't that what you said for losing a salary?
No, we said. Actually, we did not look at it as a financial constraint. We thought it's an opportunity to look at the structure because this flat structure, 6-member sabbatical team has been in place in the UBU for the last 20 years almost. So we thought we did not tell anybody we're doing this for the sake of the financial restructure. We just thought it's an opportunity as an organization to look at the structure that's been in place for so long. So yeah, we gave this perspective to everybody, and because people did not know that this was not being done for a financial constraint reason, they came up and said we would rather prefer a 5-member sabbatical team because of the size of our university and the student numbers.
Yep. Any other questions? Yep.
Would you be cutting a member or combining rules, or how would it work?
See, what I'm bringing to you guys is just a question that, is it okay for us to work on this perspective that we can reduce a member, but we've not decided anything, what to cut, how to do this. We're just asking, is this the right way forward? Do you think if this is okay?
Okay.
This item right now just means that we want to set a working group, but the direction will be this.
With the red bandana, yeah, you had your hand up.
So, because obviously you're just holding on to what you said, you said that you've not sort of decided as to what position you would cut, but surely there have been thoughts that have led you to that decision. So, like, because you were mentioning opportunities as well, what opportunities are those in reducing a sort of how would that benefit?
No, it's not a decision, it's just the most prominent thing that came out of that consultation day, because we had about 35 people in the room who were SABs, ex-SABs, NUS, university trustees, and we broke away everyone into small consultation groups, and then they came out and delivered their presentations after hearing what had been said, and that's what the most prominent thing came out. It wasn't a decision, it's just that what we noticed was the most prominent thing coming out of the consultation.
Nick.
What were the main of reducing it down to 5? What kind of points did you end up having to make to come to that decision?
Yeah, the biggest thing that came up was the overlapping of roles in different places. First one being, for instance, my and Aleem's role, the academic and union affairs. We collaborate at quite a few different things, and we actually overlap each other. Things like this, community and welfare and women's and campaigns officer got overlapped in quite a few places. That was the biggest thing. The second thing was being efficient. When 5 people can do the same thing, why do we need 6? So these kind of things that came up in the consultation that day.
Okay. Faith.
So if we were to agree to
The working group will then join together and present their findings to yourself, obviously, because we can't make a decision without consulting you guys. But that won't be done by this sabbatical team, so I think it will be the new sabbatical team coming in. They will be doing most of the work. We will initiate the work, but I think it will be completed by the next sabbatical team.
Okay, Lauren, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say, so if you say to go and look at this, and you look at it and then decide, like, even before it's brought back to us, that for this union it might just be better to keep 6, is that something that you would do, or if you kind of make the decision to look at it, is that going to like kind of be we're looking at it, so we'll
Yeah, if it comes out that 6, the way it is fine, then we'll go ahead with it. And in the end, you guys are the final call. So whatever final decision you guys will make will be the one that's sustained. So, but it will, in the end, all the findings will come back to you guys.
Hamza.
We're looking at it not, or should we reduce a person or not? It was more of, let's look at the industry, let's look at other students' unions, let's see how they're constructed, let's see what visions they have, and then let's see how many sabbaticals they have, what structures, and we found that everything was different across the UK. There was loads of different types, and I know Kieran did a lot of work to put all that together, and Dan Batch as well, so they put on a fantastic day for us where there was a lot of us, about 20 plus of us in the room, and we were broken down into groups and we had to make a decision. But once we left that room, we didn't feel like, oh yeah, we've got a cut throat, this is what we're going to go for, because everyone's decided. It wasn't a kind of closed meeting, it was more of a discussion point to see where we can take it. And as we all want to be efficient as a union, and creating efficiency is good moving forward, but I think it's important just to mention we've not made like a decision, we've just put up the idea to see how we can better ourselves.
Okay, Alim.
So just to give you an idea of the timescale, so at the meeting, I'll just give you a little background. So basically, when we were discussing it, there was a lot of variation in what we were saying, but the common theme within the, I think it was 5 or 6 groups, was that there should be a reduction in the sabbatical officer team. And there's various reasons for that. One reason, for example, previously we did have a larger amount of student body, so in excess of 20,000 at one point. Currently we have 9,403 as a head count. So we're a lot less in terms of student numbers, so a lot more can be done by a reduction amount. Just to give you an idea of the time scale, so if you were to allow this to go forward with the recommendation of reducing the sabbatical officer size, this would then go back to the discussion of the focus group. The focus group would then take it to council. The council would then take it back to the October general meeting, and then the student body again would agree on whether or not we should move forward with the 5 officers, and there will be a couple of options there to my understanding, and then the students will vote on it, and after they've voted on it, that's when we'll move forward, and in the election will be implemented whatever the student body votes for. So I hope that clarifies.
Okay, Johnny.
From what you just said, this is obviously a financial decision. Surely, because it's a financial decision and operational, the trustee board would have the final say on anything that we said as a GM, because they overrule us.
Hamza.
Can I just clear it to you today? Okay. Trustee board looks at the financial, and it does not look at the policy side. Policy is made by council and general meeting. They can overrule on instances which are reputational, financial, and strategic. They cannot. The policy is made by you in the end. The policy is made by the general meeting and council.
Can we financially sustain 6? Because the last general meeting I came to, you came in and said it's going to cost us £50,000 to keep our current sabbatical team, and now you're saying that it isn't a financial decision. And
I'm not saying it's not a financial decision. Yes, there are financial constraints, but we were saying we just got an opportunity to look at the organizational structure. You know how in different organizations you just review your structure, because we think we come to the point where it's plateaued. So we were thinking, okay, because of this financial constraint, we've now got an opportunity to review the restructure. If on that trustee away day people would have said 6 is fine, we would have thought of other ways. We might have cut a service or something like that. But on that day, it came out as cut a sabbatical.
So we could financially sustain 6 without cuts to anything else.
We will have to do something else. We'll have to cut a service or scrap something else. But they will.
Who sits on the working group?
The working group consists of myself. No, the working group is. The working group is. It's been there. It's myself, Sabira, Dan Batch, Kieran, Debs, Andy, and 2 external trustees. But with proper consultation with student focus groups as well.
Kwane?
Another very prominent thing that came out of that trustee away day was that they did not want a hierarchy. They wanted the flat structure. That was the thing that came out very prominently. People said they did not want the president structure to come into Bradford. So I think that won't change.
Nick?
I voiced my concern yesterday, and I'm just going to voice out on the floor. Yes, you argue that this isn't influenced financially. The thing is, though, it's going to end up becoming it, because we're going to eventually have it decided by all of us, whether it's a service or a SAP. And essentially, my biggest issue is that in cutting a SAP, we risk feeding into the rhetoric of austerity on the grounds that, well, let's face it, we had the discussion where it was the case that we have £146,000 in funds that was surplus. Granted, it's for a rainy day. Besides, in the case of, let's say, a disaster, like maybe like the roof falls in, there isn't really a lot of money that we would be utilising. And the fact is we have that money. So, with that being said, would it not be a bit short-sighted to argue that we should cut a SAB because we can't afford it, or we should cut a service if we can't afford it, but we have this surplus? And also, as I mentioned earlier, we do risk feeding into the rhetoric of austerity if we just continually cut.
Can I just tell you something? It's charity law to have funds in reserves equal to 6 months if the university stops giving you subvention. To sustain yourself as an organisation, it's charity law that you have to have 6 months worth of funds in your reserves if the university stops funding you. Actually, what would we do if the university stops funding our subvention?
£146,000, 6 months worth of running.
It's not even half.
Not even half. Johnny?
You just said that this came out of the trustee board, which shouldn't really be interfering with policy, but they are, because it's come up here. And you also just said that they wouldn't want a president. If we wanted a president, do you reckon the trustee board would stop that?
Sabir will give a response to that question.
By the way, this wasn't like the trustees. It was basically what it was, obviously, with the situation with the sabbatical team becoming part of staff and all that and the money situation. Obviously, it came about that we should look into the potential of cutting a sabbatical officer or looking at the services. So what it was that it was a makeup of the trustee board and other people to have a discussion. This isn't kind of saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. It was just kind of when they put it forward, they put it in a way that money wasn't an option. It was like, okay, if we could potentially have a dream team, SAB team, what would we have? And unanimously, even though these people weren't working together, unanimously it came about as 5 would be the ideal, just because of the fact of the overlapping. So, for instance, when it comes to about the presidency, if students said they want a president, trustee board has nothing to do with that, because you've said you wanted a president. Because obviously it doesn't affect in terms of stuff like finance. Having a president is just a name change, and obviously it's a structural change in terms of the constitution of what they do potentially. But that wouldn't involve the trustee board at all, because that was just something that, as a trustee, well, say trustee board, but the people that were involved in this like kind of trustee away day, it was just a suggestion that they thought that a flat structure would be better and that 5 would work better. Not saying that you guys have to do this. It's just kind of what we came up with. That's all it is. So it's kind of, that's why we're bringing it over to basically general meetings to kind of see what do you guys think, because obviously we can't make this decision by ourselves. So we want to know what, as students, what do you think? Do you like 6? Do you want 5? Whatever.
Okay.
If you want president, bring a motion to general meeting. I'll support you.
Ismail. Guys, Ismail. Yeah.
This thing's clearly about efficiency. Yes, we've got a surplus of quite a lot of money, but we have to think: is it wise to get into that surplus to continue exams? Because we have to. I think it's really important to look at: is it really a 6-man or woman job, or
Hamza?
Yeah, just want to also add on, in that group there was a sub from 2005 or 2006, was it? Hasmin came back, we had ex-subs, we had new subs, we had like different people who have been involved with the roles before to like give a perspective themselves. And it was just a case of creating a team. So I think like there was one group that had 4, one group that had 6, and the rest had 5. So it was in each group there was a representative of like an old sub, a new sub, a staff member, and like it just went like it was well organized. So thank you for all.
Can I just interrupt you? Like, that's what I'm saying. Let's just use this as an opportunity to review the structure. We're not saying which one we will cut, if we will amalgamate roles or what. We're just saying, let's just use it as if it comes out that 6 is fine, then we'll go back to 6. We'll keep it the way it is. It's just an opportunity to review. But then we do have other options, don't we? Scrapping a service does not mean you have to scrap. We can look at other things, can't we? Like some kind of service which is not as used by the students, or something that is not. You know what I mean? Like it's. That's why I was asking, like, is this okay for us to set up a working group and use this direction and go forward? Do you want to do do you want to vote on it, or we're not quoted, but we can still take a recommendation forward? So, would you want to vote on it, or?
All right, we're going to do a quick vote then, take it with a raising of hands and whatnot. So basically, we're just going to vote on allowing advisory board and trustee to make recommendations for sabbatical structure and bring it back to the next following GM, which will be happening next year. So if you agree with this, please raise your hands now. Fatuma, do the counting thing. Raise your hands nice and high, guys. Just take a second. Thank you. And those of you who are against this idea, please raise your hands now. Those abstaining from voting in regards to this idea, please raise your hands now. Thank you. And Fatuma, the results, please.
So that's 7-4 voting for the recommendation, 0 against and 6 abstention. Therefore, this recommendation has been passed.
Okay, thank you, guys. I'd like to give a little sum up. Yeah, thanks. All right, guys, so moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is sabbatical officer Q&A session. including a presentation. Because this is the current SAB's final AGM, they've put together a little video for you guys just to kind of show you what they've done and what they've been through throughout the year. So we're going to present this now, and after that we're going to have a quick Q&A session with them, giving you guys an opportunity to ask them questions. This is right there. And we've got that sorted, guys, so sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, they thought that you was a shy girl until I made you my girl. Girl, you pushed me like a big boy till I cuffed you like you did something. You ain't gotta wait for it. You ain't gotta wait for me to give you my love. You ain't gotta wait for it. Things are getting sticky, girl, I think that I'm stuck. I'll admit I'm wrong, but I know that you gon' come for me. Yeah. Never gonna not hit by your loving is just to me. And every time you hit my phone, then you say you need company. Oh, I'ma run up on you. 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 Girl, you used to being quiet till I brought that loud. You say your dollars is a mountain, and your mama your accountant. You watch your figures, you a big deal. Got your Fresh Prince and a big wheel. Polo mink coat, that's a big kill. Put you on the phone like a windshield. I'll admit I'm wrong, but I know that you gon' come for me, yeah. Never gonna not hit by your loving is just to me. And every time you hit my phone, then you say you need company. Oh, I'ma run up on you. 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 I'ma run up on you.
Yo,
I'ma run up on you.
Major Keys, I'm the boss. Don't Griselda go off. Left from the loft and went to Bergdorf. Most of these dudes is really quite soft. 45 special, this is my cloth. About to drop an album, this is my fourth. I don't put sugar in my spaghetti sauce. Drop a freestyle and get these hoes perched. Fire burn, lit up your mantra. See girls, when my girls get right. 'Cause it's another day. Let your light shine bright. Ain't none of them in your life. Trim me up the game pan like them walk code. Just link with some hot gal out the road. Trim me up the way small, pretty boss wine. Rolex, not the pan on the dirty girl tie. Yo, I told him pull up on me, faster than Danica. That's on the lawn, tryna blow him like harmonicas. He call me queen, he know Nikki is the moniker. He wanna mix between Hillary and Monica. I switch it up, I switch it up, rip the beat and I stitch it up. Traveled and I bounced up all Sinead, sir. Barbie, I link up, Major Lazer.
I'ma run up on you. 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 Yeah, they thought that you was a shy girl until I made you my girl.
And round of applause, guys. So yep, that was the video presentation. Now the SABs come to the front. Here's a mic. Now the floor is open for any questions towards any SAB that you'd like. Any questions in regards to anything they've done throughout the years, anything they have left. Yep.
Are you serious about the Yes. Is that cap? But with stuff like that, like why does no one know about that? Because we wanted to.
Basically, because obviously we're still in working of with the university, we can't exactly publicise it. If they're waiting to do kind of like a launching situation, so that's why it was kind of said here, because it's something that's going to be launched a bit more. And at the moment, it's kind of like dependent on whether we. So either way, we've got it. but it's dependent on whether we want to go towards university or external, and that's kind of in our ball at the moment. But either way, we've got it, definitely. But we're just waiting to do a proper launch. There's no cap at all, but what it is that what we'll have is that there's going to be kind of like at the bottom of your, depending on where we go basically. So if it's external, then there's, at the bottom there's going to be kind of like advertisements, but what we're going to have next to it is basically kind of like a guillotine, so you can cut it off, so that will still be accepted like with your lecturers or whatever. And we're also working on complete paperless assignments. So I don't know if we spoke about this at the last GM, but the university right now is looking at completely taking off all paper assignments. So you won't even need to be printing anyway. But obviously we're trying to do something in the meantime until we get to that point, which they're working on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be done by 2018, that you won't even need to print out. But for now, we want to have something in place. So that's what we're going to have in place.
Any other question, guys? Any other statements or comments anyone would like to make? Yep, Johnny.
There's rumours that the bars are going to go out to tender. Would you guys support the union putting in a bid to kind of run them? And do you think we've got the structure in place that could allow that?
I would say that potentially we could, on the basis that in terms of like bookings of room, management of the bookings, we've already had that. And I think in terms of the events that we run, we have the potential to be able to kind of continue running the bars. But obviously, in terms of it completely going out, from our point, we haven't heard anything so far.
And Hamza has something else to add on.
As you might be aware, the bars were controlled by the Students' Union about 10 to 15 years ago. Me and the CEO had a conversation about this. We know it's up for tender, but we're waiting for the university to come and say it to us that we want you guys to control it in the future. But if they do give us the opportunity, then yeah, we'll surely be going up for it.
There already been talked about the story. So, like, obviously societies and sports use that space absolutely loads. I'd say pretty much every student uses that space. And I think like we kind of need to get in there and be a bit more proactive about it, really, because losing that space for everyone in this room would be a massive kind of, it would be awful, I think.
Yeah, Aleem has a response to that.
So there was a bit of talk of this last year as well, but the issue that we got is that in terms of safeguarding the union from losses, the problem is that we can't compete. The reality is we can't compete with the likes of Wesley and the town. So we have to safeguard, especially now that we're a charity. If we do take over the bars, it changes our structure. So what we would have to do is have one part which is charity and another part which is a business and commercial side. So it'd have to be a private limited company. The problem that you got is when it's going to be an overlap. And will the university support us in getting more staff to run it? Not only with staff, then it comes with the management of the whole space. It depends on what agreement we can come with the university. If we can protect ourselves and the union from losses, then I don't think there would be a problem of us taking over the space. But I think if we can't get a guarantee from the university in terms of the losses, then I don't think it'll be feasible for us, if that makes sense.
Like, you just come with a lot of like problems. Like, although lots of other unions do it, and I realised that like the space isn't kind of a commercial space. Like, I don't think we'd ever make money out of it, but as an asset to the union and the space we use, I think it's vital. And I think it's like that's my reason.
I completely agree with you, and I think that's why. But I think the issue that was before was the fact that a lot of our students, the demographic of our students is different to other universities, and that's the reason why we kind of lobbied for like alternatives, because I feel as though if it stayed the way it was before, we would not be making money. And obviously, I feel like if we were to take it forward, we have to drastically look at a way to make it more accessible to all students, because if you go down there at like 2 or 3, the demographics are very different to you if you go there on a Thursday at 9 p.m. Do you know what I mean? So we need to be able to viably look at an alternative, and we've started that through like obviously getting the milkshake thing, looking at getting mocktails as well. But that took that was something we started last year, and obviously due to changing of management, it was kind of we were able to do it a lot easier this year. So obviously if we are to do it, I think we have to look at ways in terms of making it as accessible and as viable as possible.
Any other question, guys? Any other statements anyone would like to make? Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's bring it about all the place, but I spoke to Aleem at the start about the state of the library. Obviously, this is kind of noticed a bank holiday, but it was embarrassing. Like, I felt like I was at a festival.
4 weeks.
It resorted to people having to bring in all the toilet rolls from home. And then obviously, when it got past the 9 o'clock mark, you couldn't use the library toilets, so that either all go down to the bars, so that either meant you'd have to use the toilets, or I think the men's toilets, all floors are completely run out, so then they had to go home.
Like we understand like the bank holiday, like staff like to come in at that 3 hours to study, unfortunately. So I just wanted to see if there's something we can put in place for next year, for like exam season, we get extra staff or cleaners or people just to restock it, just to help us out.
And the irony is, the cleaners were complaining on Monday morning about the mess, but they hadn't been in for 3 days, so.
I think Alim's got this one.
Yeah, I think it's been an issue, especially I've been here for 5 years, and in particular, I haven't noticed on bank holiday, but in terms of Christmas and New Year's, when there is extended holidays, they don't get staff to come in and they don't get them to clean up. So, from the pictures that I've seen, they were bad, but I've seen them worse. But like I said before, do email me and list everything that you've listed now, and then I can present that to the Pro Vice Chancellor. I've got a meeting with her tomorrow at 8 a.m, so if you can get it to me before then I could present it to her. Obviously, I know that's a bit short notice, but I think you described it in a bit more detail now, so I think it probably is a bit more a matter of urgency, especially with the toilet issue. But I'm happy to take it forward, and our next academic affairs officer is here, so I'm sure she'll make sure that something, sorry to put you on the spot, but obviously make sure things are better next year.
Guys, any other questions?
Wait, was it? Also, we've been speaking to estates as well to provide like more bins, because we spoke about it before. Just because obviously we're Ecoversity, so obviously the bins are kind of specifically for that. But we're looking at basically providing kind of bigger bins and more bins in the library just during exam time, and obviously Christmas as well. For those times, but then obviously resorting back to the kind of Ecoversity and recyclable bins afterwards. So for that time, there will be more. For next year, there will be more bins available during that time period as well.
Johnny?
With the SAB restructure, potentially, would we ever look at a staff restructure to kind of move with the times a little bit more?
Jeez.
I think that is a great idea. Genuinely, yeah. I wouldn't say that we're looking at that as such, but obviously that's something we can take forward, and that's the whole point of general meeting, is that you guys give us ideas and we take it back. And if that's something you'd want to do, we'd definitely take it back, because I feel like some areas may be a bit more outdated than others.
Siji has a comment to add on to that.
That was one of the points that was raised during the away day, that a lot of the sabbatical roles need to change from operational to representational. So cutting down to 5 staff also means that potentially in the future we can look at areas where we need to actually put more staff into it. So yeah, that's one of the feedbacks that we got as well.
And Aleem has something to add on?
I know that in obviously my area sort of the academic support and support that we've sort of been partially restructuring and getting more stuff. I say last year we got a democracy and campaigns assistant that was supporting the minutes and stuff like that. So they do slowly look at staff, but I think it is quite slow. But if we can get enough demand and support from the students, then potentially we can look at radically changing the union. And I do think that our union, especially the staff structures, are really outdated. But we need the mandate from you guys to be able to make that radical change, and it's needed in our union.
To be specific, I think we do a lot of great things, but we just don't have the kind of strategy to shout about it. And I feel like marketing is an area that we really do need to kind of look at where our resources are and kind of push the ball.
Yeah, no, I think that's come up in the past 3 years. So
but it's still nothing.
Exactly. I mean, we need a mandate to make radical change. So we need to be able to, it's sort of, we can shout as much as we want, but unless we have like some sort of backing behind us, we can't make that change.
Yep. Hold on, you've got a question.
There's a paper which was either sent or is going to be sent to the university to give us extra funding for either a media or a marketing person. We want to split Phil's role into 2. So Phil can either do media or marketing, and the other person can do the vice versa. But it just depends on funding from the university, which most probably we will get.
It'd be good if we did, but wouldn't it be more powerful if we
Hamza, speak up.
thousands of signatures on that said we really do want this? Like, it's clear that you would kind of done it, but there's
So I was just wondering if we could possibly be active in campaigning for the obviously for the store to remain open, because that is a massive lifeline for students.
Yeah, so basically starting from last year, that's when we had rumours of obviously the whole 12 o'clock situation. So it took about a week, but I got to like head office, I was able to speak to the head office of Sainsbury's, and they basically explained the reason why it was going to 12 was because of the fact that they weren't making enough money. And obviously they're a business, regardless of us being a student union, there's only so much we can do to kind of keep the business open. And they were saying that obviously they were looking at basically keeping it open during exam time until 24 hours during exam period. And when I spoke to them again, basically it was something that they decided as a business that it wasn't viable because they were just not making enough money. So what we can look at doing is obviously looking at speaking to them again and lobbying them to actually be kept open. But I don't want to say, yeah, it's going to be kept open, because realistically it hasn't got anything to do with us, and it is a business. But I would, obviously, we can campaign and see what happens, to see if we can. But if not, then provide services within the union in terms of, because obviously we do have Baxter Story, we have, and we actually spoke to Baxter Story as well about basically keeping something open, or like, I don't know about keeping the shop open, but we could look into doing something that's on campus, so then students won't even need to kind of go over to Sainsbury's if they aren't able to keep open.
I mean, a lot of students that I know go there for like the prices as well, because obviously like the meal here is like £3.
Yeah.
But then if you like something of that quality, you could probably get in the shop here, no less than like you wouldn't get a lot of change from private. So if we couldn't keep it open, it would be great if we could have a shop inside the campus that actually imaged the prices that Sainsbury's had and the quality that Sainsbury's had.
Good shout. That's a good shout.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, and that's why. So obviously, first we can look into like speaking to Sainsbury's and looking at what we can do campaigning, and like making noise about it, so that they understand that this is necessary. And then if that doesn't work, look on what we can do on campus.
Yep, Johnny.
Like with the bars, take all the bars, open up a shop. So
Yeah.
Tell Chris Spargo that his shops are rubbish, which they are. They cost way too much, and the quality of the stuff in there is awful. We could just do
The
it
gourmet
ourselves.
sandwiches are gourmet hot dogs are quite nice, guys. Check them out.
But like, if we did that, it would make money for the union, and we could actually start generating our own income, and then that could lead to things that we want, like more staff members, etc.
Definitely, yeah, I agree.
Can I just say something? The bar is such a loss-making entity. As a student union, we will not be able to sustain it if we don't get the funding or some sort of guarantee from the university. If you've seen the accounts, I've seen the accounts. Even the estates want to get rid of it. It's that much of a loss-making entity.
That's it as a bar. You made it into a shop like Sainsbury's. The closest thing to that is Biscayne, and they have a really small selection. That is a massive space. So if you could even make part of that into a shop and have a massive selection, we could potentially make money for the union.
We could. Got a question here from Fatuma as well.
This is a question for Aphrodito. Hi. So as an activities officer, how did you support all societies, regardless of the size, to ensure that everyone gets the deserved recognition and get recognised for the events that they've done throughout the year?
All right, so basically, obviously, with the Society of the Month scheme, for example, I'll just give an example right now, mental health awareness, like they're just opened this year and they've already won Society of the Month. That means like small society does get recognition actually, so yes.
Okay. Oh, you got a follow-up, go on.
It's not really a dig at you or any particular small societies, but I've been told by certain societies that they feel like as an activities officer you did not support them, you did not go to their events. So my question is, how did you, not using the SQM or Society of the Month, because that was on last year, so what new things did you bring to make sure that small societies and big societies are recognized equally?
Okay.
Yep.
Apparently, like I don't go to the event. That's why. Oh yeah, I was about to say every month in SF Council we do have good news shout out, that Lorna scheme. So basically every month we email societies to be like, guys, what's your achievement this month? Tell us, and we will literally brag it to everyone in SF Council. Literally every single point got a big clap. So small societies do get recognition, and small events. So basically, we do have about 80 events every week. So I'm a small me. I can't go to 80 events. Like I literally cannot. As well, like a lot of events are quite expensive, and I'm international student with a student money as well. I don't have money, so yeah. Unless you invite me and ask me to go for free, then I'll go. Yeah, if I have to pay for it, come on. Like there's like a ball every month. Like, can you imagine? I have to spend £30 just to go to a ball. I don't have the money. Genuinely.
I have a question over here.
Okay, smaller. Okay, basically, there's so many events. I don't have time. Number 2, I don't have money. Number 3, I don't get the invite. So if I don't get invited, like I would come, but like legit, like us, like smaller societies, like I would come, but I just don't get the invite. If you got any question, come again.
All right, Tom.
Can I ask the same question to Sidji? What have you done for the small sports club?
One thing I've always done is I've kept an open door policy for anyone to actually come in. It's actually physically difficult for me to actually go to each individual club and actually ask them what they need because of the shortage of staff that we have and the politics within the union separating the university staff and the union staff. Right now at the moment, we've got a new union staff who's actually there to support me, and I'm able to actually look at everything that we've done this year and actually restructure it and make sure that everything's actually correct and efficient for the next sports officer.
Hamza?
I'd just like to thank you guys for everything you've done. I don't think you've got myself, I know myself, and you lot don't get thanked enough. Perfect. So no one's making out 100 out of 100. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you guys put yourself forward, put yourself on the line, and people sitting on the other side of the board, they won't fully appreciate what it's like to be you guys. So well done for actually making it through the year, not actually.
All right, guys, so before we move on, does anyone else have any other questions or comments I'd like to make to the SABs before we move on to the next item on the agenda? None? Then thank you, sabbatical team. You may have a seat. Now, there was an emergency motion put in by Aleem Bashir, if you would like to come up and talk about this in greater detail, referring to the UBU support to call for emergency NUS National Conference. Where is the mic? There you go, Aleem.
I've got that highlight that they've done. Should we just go over the highlights that they've done there? Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Hey, gang. You want me to start? Can I produce my report first and then question? All right. Chair, do you have anything to say?
Okay. Hi. Hi. What? Do you want to answer?
Right, so basically, the communication from NUS to the unions was really poor this year. So basically, when we found out about the priority ballot, we it was really last minute. So we voted on the priority ballot to see when the motions go in times, literally just for the deadline, because of poor communication from NUS, as well as that we weren't even aware as a union when the motions were put out, which is really, again, poor communication from the NUS again. So we struggled to communicate from the NUS. We did have an intention of putting it out to you guys, but because of the poor communication, everything was last minute and we had to meet deadlines. And that's for the priority ballot. And then when we got to conference, then we, the motions were there and they were presented to us, and we just voted on them. And 3 of us are elected sabbatical officers, so hopefully you have faith in us to vote for things that are going to benefit yourselves.
All right. Sorry. Okay. So the first thing, the big thing, we've elected our new leadership team for NUS. So Shakira Martin is our NUS president. Amity Doku is our VPHE. Emily Chapman is our VPFE. Ali Milani, our VPUD. I'm sorry, Alim. VP Sok and Sit is Robbie Young. And VP Welfare is Easy Lenga. So if you guys don't know those people, I just add them on Facebook.
Yeah, so I lost the election for Vice President Union Development. It was close though. It was really close. I just missed it.
Could you read the results?
I can't remember them. I can't remember them, but I'm sure they're in the minutes for NUS. So while we were at conference, the HE bill passed through Parliament. So this marked the end of nearly 2 years' work of lobbying, engaging and challenging the government at every stage. A lot of the amendments that happened were because of the work that we did, inputting into the NUS, and the NUS worked with the student movement. The National Conference was underpinned by its reputation as obviously the largest democratic gathering in the world as students, and they discussed a record number of motions. So they have 4 different zones of different motions, and this year we discussed the most amount of motions, one of which was that education should be liberating and progressive. So this is one of the priority motion which saw delegates mandate NUS to campaign for a liberated and progressive education system, campaigning for better and fairer funding for further and higher education students, tackling the student mental health crisis, creating local hate crime reporting centres. So we're a hate crime reporting centre as our students' union, and look to support survivors of sexual assault on campuses. We wanted students to go out and vote and demand change. And this was in light of especially the general election announcement. We've noticed, seen recently, that a record number of students have gone out and registered to vote. So it looks like something is paying off. And NUS to deliver the biggest voter registration drive in history, whilst putting forward clear demands to all political parties, so not just specific to any specific ones.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that should be highlighted from the conference is that as much as NUS is seen as left-wing or hard left, we made a conscious decision and passed a motion to say that we don't support any political party outright, but we will lobby every single political party and government in power to make sure that our voices are heard. So just keep that in mind when engaging with the NUS next year and kind of trying to push your votes through.
We also talk about student deserve more on mental health. So student mental health took center stage during the welfare zone. So with the issue fully in the spotlight in both higher and FE as well. Delegates voted to conduct research exploring the link between financial hardship, debt and mental health. And
so another big thing this year was more say for apprentices. So because 70% of NUS membership are further education students, a lot of them were in apprentices, so it's about giving a voice to those apprentices that are away from campus. The university here is actually looking for more apprentice courses, so it will mean that a larger amount of our student body will get a voice onto campus. We had a few keynote speakers. One was Sally Hunt from the university, UCU, so the University College Union of Lecturers. We had Ahmed Al-Rashid, he was a Syrian refugee. And then we also had Prentice Hemphill. Who was Prentice? Yeah, so she was a Black Lives Matter speaker. Also, during the AGM on Wednesday, there was a motion that was passed on democratic governance reform and membership contribution. That's something which is going to be brought up later. And then we had the closure of the national conference by Malia Bhatia, who unfortunately wasn't re-elected. So yeah, we're happy to answer any questions. We must have some sort of agreement. We must have. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. Yeah. 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 No, I agree. Yeah. We complained on the day, and we complained to our regional coordinator. So basically, what their argument was that it was on the website, but in the running, especially of a union like ours that is understaffed and under-resourced, we don't have somebody who's going to be checking NUS website every day to see when something gets updated. I can speak to Andy, but obviously I'm only assuming that we've got a contract, but we should have, especially if we're paying affiliation fees. So I'll find out. Yeah. 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 So a lot of the campaign, when we were campaigning to leave and stay, a lot of the things came up then. So we used a lot of what was coming up in the campaign to leave and stay when we voted in our election in the motions. So it was sort of give and take. So we had spoken to the students because of the referendum, and we knew what the student body was feeling in terms of that. So it was, I see a point. We should have probably done that, but we did have a considerable amount of student feedback at that point, although it wasn't formal.
I think you all know that I'm the poster child for like NUS. I think you all are assuming. It was my first conference, and one of the things that I felt the most was disheartened, because I kind of got to see Aline's point, and actually some points that you brought up, Johnny, about the NUS, how it works and how students and kind of the politics and the inner working is very disheartening. But I also have to say is that to make a change, you have to be the change, and you have to go in there, and hopefully a lot of you will go in next year and kind of go to the conferences, go within the NUS and say, hey, we are not going to stand for this anymore, and we are not going to stand for your stupid politics that make no difference to actual people. Oh, sorry, Buzz. I'm not really with it today. And kind of just make sure that we push our agenda, and I hope the new SAB team will be able to do something like that. And I'm doing my master's next year, so here or anywhere, hopefully kind of doing something about it.
I went as an enabler, so I didn't really get to do what I wanted to do. But basically, right, basically I went as well as an enabler. And to be honest with you, NUS is trash. Like, if I'm honest, like like on levels. So obviously, as I was very for the NUS, right, and I was campaigning like very, very hard for the NUS, even though I knew myself I wouldn't be going to conference. But I went as an enabler, and just seeing what it is there, it's the fact of like, honestly, nothing gets done on the basis that they're too busy kind of fighting within each other, and I think that's the reason why a lot of the stuff does go like. There are some stuff that they've done that's really good, like the HE bill was fantastic, because literally it's a very, very good thing. But other than that, it's like they're so busy fighting one another that they don't realise that there's so many different areas that that they're good at, they're good at separately, but they're so busy trying to be like, oh look, I won, I'm better than you, that they don't realise that they can literally use all their stuff separately and put it together to make an amazing like team, but they're so busy fighting one another that they don't have the time to do that. And I think because of that, unfortunately, students are the ones that are missing out. Student unions are the ones that are missing out on that, and it's ridiculous.
Aleem, Jasmine, any
Yeah,
guys have a
it would
response to
have to be a motion at council. I mean, at that kind of level, and kind of first of all get the kind of approval from other students' unions that it would take to kind of push this motion on, and then go to national conference and vote on basically a democratic change, because that would have to be a change.
Okay, Johnny.
When does the hate crime reporting centre been open?
Okay, so the hate crime reporting center has been around for around this was its 4 year, and it kind of started last year. So NUS kind of has repeated passed on motions that we've already done anyway. So yeah, our university is a hate crime reporting center that is specifically for students and maybe just the community who want to report it, and then all of that information gets reported to the police, I think, and Bradford Hate Crime Alliance, which organizes the hate crime alliance and the hate crime reporting centers within Bradford.
I think I just googled it on the union website and there's just nothing there. I think it's another thing that goes back to what I said before. We're doing those things but nobody knows about it.
That's been my issue. So I've been dealing with Jedin, who is I think is the CEO of Bradford Hate Crime Alliance, who deals with us becoming. He sent us no promotion. He's been doing other things and stuff like that. So it's kind of been difficulty of me getting track of him instead of our fault. I'm so sorry, and I hopefully will fix it up before I leave.
Hamza? Okay, that's fine then. Any other questions, guys, before we move on?
Yeah.
No? Okay, yep.
So you're talking about how rubbish the NUS is, but what can we actually do before the next conference to actually complain to them or try and change them? Because I hear a lot of people saying that they're trash, but what we actually can be doing next year.
I think it should be a direct approach. I think the people who have been elected, add them on Facebook, email them continuously, start lobbying them to make a difference. It's not about the left wing or the right wing or the moderates, because nobody cares about that within our movement. It's about actually going out there and campaigning for students on things that actually matter. And I think it's time that we take a more direct approach in kind of infiltrating the NUS, going to conferences, pushing our SABs to have more of a voice within the NUS, and kind of saying, hey, enough is enough. And maybe if you have friends at other students' unions and other universities, kind of saying to them, guys, do you want to coordinate with this on me, or coordinate with this, and kind of talk about this and kind of expand on this even more, because I'm sick of it. And like I said, I ran a campaign to kind of push the NUS to their throats. So let's just kind of be proactive about it.
And a comment from Sabira?
The other thing is they're starting up properly regional networks as well within the NUS, and that's something that we put forward. And doing it in a sense that we work without the regions the universities that are around us. And with that, we're an even greater body. So from that point of view, it's not just Bradford lobbying the NUS, it's Bradford, York, Manchester, all these areas. And we'll be the ones lobbying the NUS to basically do something about it. Or the other step is having another referendum.
Okay. Any other question, guys, before moving on? None? No, thank you. NUS delegates, you may take a seat. Aleem, stay here. Yeah, all right. So now I'm going to hand it over to Aleem to discuss the emergency motion he put through in regards to the UBU support to call for an emergency NUS national conference. Aleem?
Right, so just to give you a bit of background. So at NUS, the annual general meeting, which occurred on, I think it was Thursday, on the third day, they passed a motion called Strengthening NUS Democracy. Now, what the NUS full-time officer did was that he visited around 200 students' unions in the year and lobbied them beforehand. So rather than giving them an informed decision and explaining to them exactly what was in the democratic reform and explaining to them what was in the review of NUS, what he did was he gathered support before the conference, and then at conference he got them to vote in favour of this motion. Now, there's a lot of changes that are not written in the democratic motion that was passed. So, for example, that our funding structure may change. So with it changing, there's uncertainty of whether we will pay more to be part of the NUS or pay less, for example. Other things were that certain offices would be cut and certain offices would stay. For example, there'll be more strength for regional networks, yes, but there was different things. So I can...
The other big part was basically getting rid of the National Executive Committee, which is the NEC. So it's the people who hold the officers to account. So basically it's like us guys saying, hey, we're going to get rid of our council and nobody's going to hold us account. So who would hold them account is individuals which they buddy up with and elect through their specific zones, which it doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, so I think the officer at hand was Richard Brooks. So he went around to every SU, including consulting the Bradford SU, and saying, hey, this is an amazing thing. It's a restructure. It makes more sense. And to be fair, like, I bought it for a while, but then Richard Brooks only presented certain facts that would like buy us in. He didn't mention anything about NEC. He didn't mention anything about kind of getting his own specific zone to hold him accountable, which means they won't really because they're his friends, and doing stuff like that. So he's kind of slid a lot of things in there, and because he's been around a lot of SUs throughout the year and doing this tour of how to pass this democratic kind of reform, what's happened is this reform has passed anyway. So it passed through because of the fact that nobody knew what was going on actually. So Adeem, do you want to talk about the motion?
Yeah. So basically what happened was that some unions have got together and they would like to call for an emergency national conference that will for mandating NUS to hold an emergency national conference where they explain what the democratic reform will be, exactly what it will be. So just to put it into context, in the 95 years of NUS, there has never been a democratic reform like this. This is something which will be really affecting us guys on the ground, our membership, what we pay as a union to the NUS, and it will really make a big difference to us. We could potentially be paying more to be part of a union which we're frustrated with. They could potentially damage the union as well in terms of if the democratic reforms are that radical, students' union may choose to disaffiliate, and if there is a large students' unions that are disaffiliating, what will happen is that the voice of NUS will be weakened, and if it's weakened, they won't be able to be an NUS like they claim to be, so they won't be as powerful. That will affect us directly. So this is the type of things that we want to change. So basically what I'm appealing to you guys today is to, obviously we're not qualified, so we will be recommending to sabbatical officers that we vote in favour of calling for an emergency national conference, and what that will do will give us delegates more chance to understand what exactly is happening, feedback to you guys, and then see which way we would like to vote. Does that make sense?
So hopefully everyone understands what's about to happen. Do you all understand, or would you like some more explanations? All right, so we're going to take it to a vote now, and the vote is to pass through a recommendation to SAB briefing to allow the SABs to continue on with this motion and, lobby for a emergency NUS national conference. So those in favour of passing through this recommendation, please raise your hands. Yeah, raise them up high. Raise your hand. Raise them up. Just put your hand up. Thank you, guys. And those against the recommendation, please raise your hands. And those abstaining from passing the recommendation, please raise your hand. All right, thank you, guys. And the results, Fatima?
50 voted for, 0 against, and 5 abstention. Therefore, this recommendation has been passed.
Well done, guys. Thanks for that. Now moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the honorary life membership. passing over to Sabira to read out the list of Honorary Life membership winners.
Okay, I'm gonna make this quick. So we had 22 candidates that put themselves forward or were nominated by others for the Honorary Life membership. So these are the people that got them. So we have Emily Harris. We have Lauren Everand. Everand. We have Fatuma Sanyang. We have Darcy Pilkington. We have Georgina Bennett. We have Zoe Knott. We have Hamza Youssef. We have Mohammed Shariar. We have Jonathan Banham. Yep, we have Vashil. We have Huram. We have Alim Bashir. We have Christina. We have Judith Martinez Sanchez. We have Shreya Sanoka. Yeah. And we have Zainab Gharabasani. And we have Lorna Quinn. Yeah, that's what we have. And obviously we did put this forward, so if anyone wanted to have nominated themselves or been nominated, they could have. And basically what this means is that they will be getting a special mention at the Student Leader Awards. And on top of that, they'll be getting like a special pin. And they'll be getting 50%, they'll get a membership card, and they'll be a member for life basically to the Student Union, so they can use the library. They also get 15% off in the student shop. They also get at the graduations, they also kind of get a special mention before they get before they get their degree, just to let you know that how hard they've worked within the union. And my team was myself, Lorna, and Anila as well. We also had kind of a member for like 2 meetings, but that was Hamza. But yeah, he wasn't really. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. And now on to the next section of the agenda, which is the raffle prize draws. To let everyone know, we're giving away 6 prizes today. We're giving away 5 £20 Amazon vouchers and 1 £50 one as well. We're going to do the raffle draw now. So everyone make sure you have your raffles in hand. That's your issue. Huh? What? Raffle ticket 141. 141. All right. Well, just come to the front. What? Who can't get a ticket? She won it. What do you mean? Kwane can. Kwane can. And the next £20 raffle prize will go to, Akinwale, pick a number. $133. Raffle ticket 133. Oh, 133. Oh, winner at the front. So. Same thing, your name, UB number, and write £20 next to when you can come collect it tomorrow at the office. Okay, no problem. All right. Fatuma, the next one, please. $168. Raffle ticket 168. Faith, yep. Come down. Faith, don't worry. Haters gonna hate. Write your name, UB number, and £20 next to your name on the list, and you come collect it tomorrow in the office, okay? All right. The next winning number. 163 for your £20 Amazon voucher. Come to the front, Lorene. Next raffle one. This is for the last £20 Amazon voucher. 179. Afro won it. Hey, it's AGM. Yeah, go on, let us have winner. Go on. All right, Afro, to the front. Write your name, UB number, and £20 next to it. Now for the final one. The £50 Amazon voucher. Actually, let me pick this one. I'm feeling lucky. Alright. For £50, raffle ticket 112. Is it okay? That's what happens when you speak out. That was wild. AGM giving out £50. All right, guys. That's the end of the raffle. And now we're moving on to the final part of the agenda, which is AOBs. And we have one from Aphrodita. Come to the front, please. And
Why do you pronounce my name like that?
that's how you pronounce your name, innit?
No, it's not.
Here you go. Afro, go on.
All right, so basically, obviously Party on the Amp is coming really soon on the 26th of May. So if you haven't got your tickets, please get your tickets. Like literally, please. Okay. Also, it's online. It's bradfordunisu.co.uk/partyontheamp. It's £18. Wristband for everything, rides, the night event. So spend your last day of in the union on a night event. Let's do it. We have headliners, everything. Like, do not be sitting there in a sad pub. Like, let's go and celebrate. Let's go have it. So, and then my last announcement is basically we've got this scheme called Society of the Month. So, obviously, 2 days ago we've got our SF Council, but we didn't have the chance to obviously give it to them. So this month's Society of the Month is Bugs. Thank you, guys.
We're gonna do.
All right, now we've got the final AOB, which is Shazmin. I'll hand it over to her. Yeah, that's on.
Hey guys, I know this is pretty last minute, but I was wondering if anybody interested, if you could stay behind for 10 minutes and get yourself recorded with the message about the general election and why students should vote. Yeah, just please stay around. I'm begging you. Just a few minutes of your time.
Okay, thank you for that. One more AOB from Lorna Quinn. Here you go.
Hi guys, so tomorrow Rama and DKMS are hosting a charity event in the Amp Bar, 7 till 11 p.m. There's 4 live bands. It's £3 on the dot and all money goes to charity, so it'd be great if you could come along, please.
And on that note, this is my final AGM as your chair of council. I'd like to say goodbye. Thank you. And pizza and refreshments are downstairs. Thank you for attending AGM. That was it. I said goodbye.